property news with Trevor Cutmore. So a lot going on this week. First of all, let's talk about what's happening with stamp duty. The government are sorting out, they're trying to talk and discuss and decide, hopefully this Wednesday, that they're looking at scrapping the stamp duty for a period of 6 months. How does that affect us? Massively. All of a sudden it makes everything a little bit better for you and me. Look, if you're dealing with properties really on the low end, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 pounds, not a huge amount, right? Remember, when you already have one property, a £100,000 house, you're going to save £3,000 in stamp duty. But when it's £500,000, you're saving £30,000. That's a significant chunk of cash that you can save on a deal. And even if properties are going down, if you're going to hold a little bit more, that could be fantastic. So with this news, what should you and I be doing? We should be absolutely squirreling away, as Leslie Tower and myself have been doing, by building your war chest up ready to go, because there's going to be some incredible opportunities for you and me to get hold of. Now, it's interesting. Let's take a couple of things. In May, The Guardian reported and said properties in the UK are going to go down by 13%. 13%. And listen, I'd love to know how they calculate this, where they calculate it, and how it affects whether it's Durham or whether it's London. And are they just talking about London? It's never clear. They come up with these sweeping statements and that is it. However, Savills in this month have said, do you know what? UK property market, 5 years time, is going to go up 24.1%. How did they work that out? I have no idea. But remember a video a little while ago I talked about 2 weeks ago, I talked about the recession. Is it going to be a V? Is it going to be a U? Is it going to be down and up very quickly? Or is it going to be down the bottom, along the bottom for a bit, and then come up later in a few years' time? The way Savills are looking, they're saying it's going to be a V. Who knows? It's a difficult time and something for you and me to watch out very closely. But listen, do not bank on what the headlines say, because it is just no good. You and I need to look at the economy in that area. And where I live is like a little micro economic climate, because there's things going on. You should know what is coming and what's going. Siemens in Lincoln, massive company. They are expanding and expanding. Let's look at what the government is going to do in this time very quickly. HS2, some people, the commentators are saying, oh, we can't spend all that money, or we must stop, we must shrink it back. No, the opposite is true in times like this. We must extend it, perhaps go further up into Scotland, into the nether regions there. So all these things, very, very important. Another point of the news, the bank of mum and dad. Very interesting. Remember what I talked about a few weeks ago about GDV, gross domestic product, and that's very important in getting the economy going. But the bank of mum and dad, can you imagine now? They're saying that there's some reports, again, I don't know how they quantify this, but they're saying as much as £700 million will be pumped back into the economy to help for mum and dad to help their children buy properties. That's incredible. That starts to go to help, because once we start putting money back into the economy, we will start to recover. Interesting commentary. I have no idea how they get their numbers. I don't know if they sit around the board meeting or a board table and they say, look, what should we say? 500, 600, 9, what is it? Interesting. I'd love to know how they come up with this. Airbnb have been subject to a little bit in the news lately, because what's been happening, private parties, people have been booking an Airbnb place, and then suddenly, guess what? There's a big party going on when we're supposed to be social distancing. So that hits the news. Can I tell you something? That has been going on ever since Airbnb has been going. People go and they have parties. The only thing is, they should have stopped and they haven't. So the UK Airbnb have been talking to the main company in America, US Airbnb, and what they're coming up with now is that they're looking at restricting people under 25 years old of booking a place, and if they have less than 3 positive reviews. Now, you and I both know that, you know, if there's 10 people going, someone over 25 will go and it'll still be a party. You won't stop it. But it's a good thing, in my opinion, because they've got to look to stop these things happening. And if you're in the Airbnb business, you will know that sometime that you'll have someone come in and do a big party, and it is disgusting. There are body fluids, there are all sorts of stuff, there's things broken, destroyed. So really, really important for you to understand who your clients are. So perhaps it's a really good thing that Airbnb are starting to look at this and to stop those people who can start to destroy the things that you manage to make profit. Because remember, if you've got it all booked up and now you need 1 or 2 days to get it all cleaned, or maybe your cleaner goes in and says, I'm not touching it. So it's a good thing. Well done, Airbnb. I like what you're doing, and it's good. People say it's restricting, controlling. Listen, we need to be sensible, and when people are disobeying and getting things wrong like this, blatantly destroying property and making it disgusting, stop them. All right, close that down. Now, they probably go to hotels, but then something else was going to happen. Now, the Prime Minister the other day had his build speech. Very interesting. The goal is, let's just clarify what this is all about. For many years, the government has had a quota to achieve of new build properties in this country every year. And I can remember back probably 10, 12, 15 years ago, then I think it was 150 houses per year, or accommodation. It could be a flat or a house to be built. However, every year since, I remember it getting to 250, then to about 300, 350. We are so behind in where we need to do. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how many we have to catch up on, okay? It's crazy. However, the target is to build 3 million homes, whether it's flats or houses. Very interesting, because as a developer and investor myself, the government over the last 5 years has done everything to slow down and to stop people like me, with the smaller guys who want to build 6 to 20, 25 houses or flats, and they want to give it to the big boys. Now what they're doing is saying, hey, hang on a minute, if we can get everyone's hand to the wheel to start doing it, that could be great. They're right, but why did they stop us at the beginning? It's a real shame. So 3 million homes with zero carbon footprint, emissions, whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, that is impossible. It is. The UK property market is one of the biggest carbon emitting projects in this country. Think about it, when you are producing bricks and cement and everything, the footprint that we do to make houses is massive. Even with timber framed houses, again. Now I see where they're going, but they're not going to get zero emissions. They're not. Carbon emissions, they're not. They'll have to offset, but it is, in my opinion, a ridiculous idea. You know, let's reduce it, yes, but zero, impossible. Show me how to do it, unless we're going to go to modular housing. That's an interesting one. What they do is they produce the houses in a factory, and then they transport everything within 24 hours. Once they've done the steel pinning in the ground, in 24 hours it's delivered and it's put, and it's all working. 24 hours, one house goes up. Could be the way of the future. I know it's really interesting. Watch this space. Probably it's going to be later on, you know, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Watch modular housing. It's going to come. Okay, very different for society and everything. But back to build. What are the things that he's saying that will come in? First of all, commercial to residential is going to be able to happen without planning permission. Bang! Listen, when people start saying this, even the Prime Minister, you've got to be really careful. There will be people on the back of that who are going to start to go and do this stuff and make a complete mess up. Then the enforcement officer is going to come back and say, no, you can't have it. Change it all back, and it will be a nightmare. Please, 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 talk to your planning department, talk to your architect, and if they say you don't need planning, get it in writing. It's good advice, I promise you. The next thing, and it scares me when I heard this, the next thing is you can demolish things without planning permission. Really? How wonderful is that? Listen, again, there's so many things around it. If you're in a conservation area, if it's a listed building and you suddenly decide, I'll get a bulldozer and smash it down, I can do that myself. It would cost me a few £100 to borrow it, or I've got a mate round the corner, let's smash it down. The fines, everything will be a nightmare. So be very, very careful. Do not demolish anything without going, and again, get it in mouth and in writing above. So let's say you have a shop, you've been able to do this under permitted development rights, but on top of a shop you can go 2 levels and have 2 apartments. Imagine a huge shop, you cut it into 3 shops, now you could have 6 apartments, but, and this is the major thing, have you had a structural survey to tell you that the foundations can take that? You know, guys, you've got to be sensible here. You're hearing this, yes, it's the Prime Minister, but there's so much more. But this is the news that is coming out. Yes, it's really exciting, but you got to know, can you actually physically build? Will it take the weight? Okay, and remember, do not go cheap when you're doing building. Please, please, please. The next thing is the modular housing. Let's come back to the modular housing. That is really, really exciting. Down in Peterborough, they have a huge factory. This is something which globally people are looking at. It will reduce the emissions down. As I've said, what they do is either 1 floor or 2 floors. It comes, it's delivered on a lorry, pre-prepared, and it would take maybe a few weeks to do it. Prepare the land, whether it needs to dig out, piling, they normally putting rods down, and they could even put thermal rods down to produce heating. Now we're talking about some really, really clever stuff, and even having solar panels on the top. Watch out for modular housing. Listen, I hope you like the property news. It's something I'm going to be doing a little bit more regularly. Please comment, please share to as many people as you can in property so they get to see this, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. God bless you. Bye bye.